Welcome and namaste to the Golden Child Podcast, the podcast to help you to reconnect with your inner child to live the life you truly desire. And here's my awesome intro.
On five.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome, Felecia, to the Golden Child Podcast. Thank you really so much for coming.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
That's
Happy to.
awesome. That's awesome. So first of all, where are you located, and why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell a little bit about your story, who you are, what you're doing, and of course the time zone that right now you're connected from.
Oh, wow. So, thank you, first of all, for having me. My name is Felecia Walker, and I am the CEO of a professional development company called the Focus Group by Felecia. And I am currently, right now, in the United States. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. And I just wrote a book, and I am ready to shout it out to the world. And I'm super happy to be here with you today.
Fantastic, fantastic. Let's talk about the book. Come on, you said about the book, so I want to know more about the book. What you're talking about? Here it is. It's on fire. Pay down, Broken Tuesday. Come on, come on, come on. Let's bring
Paid on,
some good stuff in here.
yes, paid on Friday, broke by Tuesday, the pathway to unstoppable success. And let me tell you, this book was probably 4 years in the making. And how it came about was I was laid off from a six-figure paying job, had to take a 60% pay cut, earned my first promotion, went into back into that six-figure industry. So I tripled my salary within 3 years. But it wasn't an easy journey. It was a tough journey as a mom of three children. There were a lot of things I had to overcome, but to do that, there were a lot of things that I had to do to push myself outside of the comfort zone, outside of my comfort zone,
Yeah.
to connect with people that I never thought that I would connect with. And so, yeah, so that's what the book is about. It's not just about career stuff and interviewing and networking. It's about life. It's about getting back up that 12th time after you've been knocked down 11, right? So that's what the book is
Nice.
about, me sharing my story.
Uh, and you should know something about. So you said getting out of the comfort zone. The mission statement of the My Small Company is coming actually from a saying coming from the Islamic culture that says seek knowledge, even if it means going to China. So that means really like exploring the realm of possibilities and really getting out of the comfort zone, because maybe here's the place where I don't know, you can gather, some knowledge, but when you step out of the of your comfort zone, that's where the gold really comes in, and you can really learn a lot. And why don't you tell us what the uncomfortable zone truly was during the transformation journey from losing 60% of your annual income?
Yeah. So that outside of my comfort zone was networking with vice presidents and presidents and directors of my company, not
Okay.
telling anyone around me what I was doing, but sending secretly, not secretly, but sending emails, introducing myself, saying, hey, this is where I am currently, but this is where I'm trying to go. How can you help me? Right. And just not being afraid and not being intimidated by what they would say or who they were. There was something that I needed to change in my life, and they were the ones to help me get there. So that's what out of the comfort zone looked like for me.
So help me to help you. That's a very good one, because you need to show
Yeah.
kind of like your authentic self, your fragile part. You need to expose yourself in order to be helped, because I would say nobody likes the guy or the woman who's like, I know it all. So
Right.
you need to be authentic, and when you're authentic, I think I really genuinely believe that people are more willing to help compared to the other example I just provided.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I was. I was authentic, I was vulnerable, and I needed to change my life. And I'm saying, hey, I need this, but I don't know how to get there. Help me. right? And so that was a big part of my transformation.
What is an advice that you could give to someone who doesn't like to be vulnerable and share stuff with other people in order to get somewhere?
You know what I would say? If you think you can get there by yourself, you are wrong. And
Mhm.
if you need to move, if you need to transition, if you need to transform and you don't know how to get there, why would you not seek the help of someone who's already done it before?
Yeah,
Right? Why would you not follow someone else's blueprint, especially if they're willing to give it to you? So yeah.
ab- absolutely.
So don't be afraid. That's the advice. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Talk to who you need to talk to, go to where you need to go, attend the conferences that you need to attend, read the books that you need to read if that's what it's going to take to transform your life.
What is a book that totally transformed your life aside the one you just wrote?
Yeah, so there is a book that I'm reading now. It's by T.D. Jakes. It's called Disruptive Thinking.
Disruptive
And it's
thinking.
Disruptive Thinking by Bishop T.D. Jakes. And it's about thinking, again, thinking outside of the box, but thinking differently. So
Yeah.
right now, when I first started my company, I was thinking, oh, I just want to help the students in my city. I just want to help those high school students in my city. Now I want to help the students around the world.
Yeah.
Right. And so
I
I don't
like
think,
it.
yeah, what is the process that needs to be put in place to be able to do that? Right. So now my thinking is a little different.
Um, have you ever actually helped students way outside your community, like other countries, like etc.?
So right now I haven't reached another country, right?
Okay.
Hopefully you're helping me with that. But
Okay.
definitely work with students within my city. I've worked with college students across the country. I've worked with high school students in another part of the United States. So I have worked with students within the United States, but I haven't yet quite gone outside of the country. But that's why I'm here with you today.
Sounds good. And listen, Nanga, have you noticed the very interesting patterns among
Mhm,
the students?
mhm.
What have you noticed? What have they yet to discover about themselves and their true potential?
So for me, it's about connecting with your broken moments, right? For me, it was those moments that broke me down and woke me up at the same time that brought me to my knees to say, I need a change, right? And so I use that emotion, that feeling to motivate me to move forward. So what I do is I help students to connect to those moments. And
Okay.
although they may not have experienced dark moments in their lives, they may have seen their parents struggle. They may have seen their parents go through challenges in their lives. So I help them to understand, okay, what did you feel like during that time? And how will you allow that to motivate you so that you don't have to experience the same things that your parents experienced? So it's about helping those students. And these students, they're going through things. They've
Yeah.
lost family members, they've siblings. People are dying all around those emotions. So it's about helping them to connect those emotions, those sad emotions, those negative emotions, and allowing those things and those situations to push them forward so that they will start and not quit.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And let's talk about the imposter syndrome, which is something it has been daunting people for, I would say, years, and right now it's getting quite popular. First, could you explain what imposter syndrome truly means to you, and also
yeah,
the experience related with some of the students that you helped
yeah,
overcome their own self-imposed limitations?
yeah. So for me, I was raised by my mom. I was raised by a single mom, and she did an amazing job. And I didn't meet my father until I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
So for years, I thought that I wasn't worthy of having a certain type of life. I thought that I wasn't worthy of doing certain things in life. And so, I had to go back and revisit those emotions and those thoughts and clean them out and get them out of there. So when I wrote my book, I started thinking, do I really have something to say? Like, will people really listen to me? Am I really helping people? But I had to realize that those were those old thoughts trying to creep up back in my mind, right? That I wasn't worthy of sharing my experiences with the world when I absolutely am. Like, my experiences represent so many people in the
Hmm.
world. A lot of people are going through things and they
Yeah.
want to be able to relate to people and connect to people who've gone through similar situations. So, that imposter syndrome is feeling like, to me, feeling like you're not worthy of being in the space that you're in when you absolutely are. You absolutely
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
For me, it's like untapped energy. Like energy is not flowing, blood is not flowing as your fullest potential, and you feel like low all the time. Like there is some pressure in your
Yeah.
heart, in your stomach, in your hips, and you feel like a constriction. But
Yeah.
when the blood, the energy to it flows, you feel really, really unstoppable. And it's truly remarkable the things that you can truly do. And I met, I would say I used to suffer from imposter syndrome. Unfortunately, university is not a good place to motivate people to getting a job and, fulfill their life, unfortunately. So I had to find my own way to heal my own scars. So I think that in order to really unleash people fullest potential and get into the golden child, people need to heal their own trauma. Once you realize what the trauma is, where the origin is, and you realize that it's not your stuff, something that
Yeah.
is coming from either your parents, society, friends, or whatever, it, you can really unleash a whole new level of energy and potential and possibility. And your mind is moving from being stuck to limitless. That's at least
Yeah.
what happened to me.
Yeah. I think for me, I think that's key. I totally agree with you. And for me, it was about forgiving people that I felt harmed me or hurt me
Yeah,
or hurt my feelings. It was about forgiving them even without an apology. Like a
that's
lot of
nice.
times a lot of times we wait for people to say, "Oh, I'm sorry I hurt you," or "I really didn't mean to," or we want some type of explanation, and they just don't have
No,
them to apologize or to say I was wrong or whatever. So, in order sometimes to heal yourself, you just have to forgive without receiving an apology so that you can go on, right? So,
that's some power. Really, I like it. I like
yeah,
it. How do you help someone to forgive? Let's just say someone has a deep scar, maybe, I
yeah,
don't know, related to, might be parents, might be relatives, might be school, institution, or anything like that. How do you heal that? What are three things? Can be habits, can be, I don't know, ideas, quotes, anything can help an individual move from a state of hate towards a
mm,
state of limitless abundance and joy?
that is such a great question. Oh.
It's kind of my
So,
superpower.
oh my gosh, that's a great question. So, I think the first thing is I journal a lot. Like I have a ton of journals all around my house, and there's nothing like a brand new journal and a brand new pen to start fresh. And
Yeah.
so for me, it was about getting those things out of my head, out of my heart, and onto paper.
Yeah.
Right? Write every word, write in how I feel, how I felt, how long I was in that place. So it's about getting that stuff out, right? And then I think the second thing is find your people. Find
Nice.
people. Find those people who genuinely love you, those people who genuinely support you, and stick to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not always your family. That it should be, but that's not always your family.
No.
Sometimes it's a friend. Sometimes it's someone that you meet at a conference or at a special event. It's just you have to find your people. And when you
Mhm.
find those people, stick to them. And here's the thing, be reciprocal. If they're loving on you, love on them back.
Yeah.
Don't always be the person to receive, receive, receive. Be willing to give back and show love. There's a saying that to find friends, you have to first show yourself friendly,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And so I've been very intentional about that. So you want to journal, find your people, and then I would just say talk to
Hmm.
somebody who doesn't know you, so that you can get those things out, get those feelings, that anger out with someone who's not going to judge you.
That's
That is
power.
it is so powerful. I'm a social worker by
Hmm.
nature. So that's what I went to school for. And for years and years, I was a counselor or a social worker. I just all the things. And so I believe in therapy. I believe in counseling. I believe in
Yeah.
talking to people that are not going to judge you. I believe in seeing it through to the end, not just going a couple of times and saying, "Oh, I'm healed
No.
now, everything's fine," but seeing it through, to the end. So
Yeah.
that would be three things that I would recommend for someone who needs to heal certain places in their heart.
There's a nice story of the Buddha that they said that when he reached nirvana and ultimate state of illumination and beyond reality, the day after, the students found the Buddha meditating again. And it's like, how come you meditate? You found nirvana. Well, it's not something that you just, go there and you keep it forever. You need to, sharpening a tool all the time. Otherwise, I would say the parasite of the mind will just gonna grow again because it's lurking, in the shadow all the time. And in order to find the light all the time, you need to keep sharpening the tool. Like, and I think discipline and, willpower and consistency are really, really important. Journaling is something I've been doing for years. I think it's truly important. Before this episode, there was an entrepreneur. Again, she's living in California. She wrote a book about the spiritual journaling, and it's so powerful and to really inspire people how to have a better relationship with themselves, how to talk to themselves, and write the nasty things, write the all the bad stuff. If you hate
Right.
someone, just let it out. Don't keep it yourself. It's very unhealthy and it's really gonna eat you out. So the more that you just let the things that I would say you feel ashamed of, just write it down. And it's so good for your body because if you keep this stuff inside, it's gonna eat you up.
I tell you that word shame, it is something else because, and I've talked about that before. Shame can keep you hidden. It can
Yeah,
keep from talking to the people who really do love you. It can keep you out of those circles that you really need to be in because you're thinking that people are still judging you, and you
yeah.
have to let it go. We all have gone through things. We
Hmm.
all overcome things, and so you have to just, that shame is something, and that's something I had to get over. There were
Yeah,
several things in my life that I felt shame about. I was like, I don't want to be around people. I don't want people to know what I've gone through. But now my mindset is I want them to know what I've gone through because it can help them. Because
yeah,
a lot of times people will look at me and say, you know what, if she's done that, I can do it too. If she's overcome that, so can I.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vast majority of the time, the self-imposed limitation, yeah, there, you know, it's within us. Uh,
Yeah.
what I did recently was, I was afraid of heights, like big, big, big afraid of heights. And so I booked a trip to do the zip line. I don't know if you ever heard what the zip line is.
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
Yeah, so it's like 100 meters from, and that you're going 60 kilometers per hour, which is, I think, is like 120 miles per hour. So it's pretty fast, going down. And it was awesome. Really, it's so much fun. And to demonstrate myself that I overcame fear, the week after I booked another activity doing paragliding from 1,000 meters. And again, I conquered my fear, but I wasn't
Wow.
happy. So in 3 weeks, I'm gonna do skydiving from 6K from this.
Wow.
Yeah, and you have no idea the energy that just came out of my body. I felt like I would say limitless. And
Yeah.
all the fears, all the things I, used to say, not enough, not blah 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 blah, whatever, just just disappeared. It's so awesome. I'm not saying that do skydiving, so all your fears and insecurity will go away. So you need to have a very high level of awareness. But really, that helped me out and said, wow, if I can do that, I can do whatever I want.
Wow, that's awesome. That's kind of how I feel about me writing this book.
Yeah.
I've always felt like there was something different about me. I've always felt like, I had something to offer, right? And so when I finished this book, I'm like, if I could do this, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Because at this point, all fear is out the window. My ego is out the window, and I'm just whatever. I might come join you, and we can go skydiving together.
Power, some power. Are you afraid of heights? Otherwise, it's not okay. So only people who are afraid of heights can go can do skydiving.
You know
uh,
what? I don't know. I don't know how afraid of heights I am. We'll see, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
6K is a big jump. I would say it's a very big jump. They also provide you, the oxygen mask because like 6K when you're dropping down, it's like 1 minute when you're falling, and there's a lot of compression, especially on the lungs.
That's
So I,
crazy.
I don't know. It's gonna be very intense, but I feel ready. To be frank, I,
Can't
I
wa-
can't wait to do it. I can't
I
wait to
can't
do it.
watch. I can't
Yeah,
wait to watch the journey.
yeah. I'll share it on Instagram, so you're gonna have fun. See a guy like that. It's gonna be fun. Listen. What is the chapter that you felt your body and your mind on fire when you were like writing that, and you were like, "Oh gosh, I can explode like a supernova."
Wow. So when I was writing this book, the chapter, it has to be chapter one. And it's
Okay.
talking about find your why. And
Mm,
I'm talking about my children. I'm talking about my mother. I'm talking about my uncle and my family, and how I am really trying to put myself in a position to expose my family and my children and their children. So it's not
mhm.
just about, it's about generational,
Yeah.
right? Trying to expose them to a different life, right? And how they push me, how that I know that when they're looking at me, they're looking to see, are we okay? Right? Are we okay, mom? And they're looking to me to see and to judge how they're feeling. So that had to be the chapter that
Yeah.
really set me on fire, because I knew that by writing this book, I was creating legacy. So when I'm gone from this earth, my words, my thoughts will still be here for them and their children and their children's children. So yeah,
Yeah.
the
That's
one.
nice. And what about the chapter that made you cry? Like when you were like, "Ooh, gosh, it's so hard to share this." Was that a chapter? Like, if it's
Yeah.
getting too deep, really, you don't need to share. But is there a chapter that really, like, gosh, that's something that it's really hard to write?
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a chapter, but there's a story.
Okay.
There's a story of I was interviewing with the company, and it was a pharmaceutical company, and I made it to the final interview, and they were about to fly me out. And I wanted to get to the airport like 3 hours early because this
Okay.
was it, right?
Yeah.
And but something happened where I changed the time that I arrived at the airport. And when I got there, it was like the lines were out the door.
Hmm.
And by the time I got through the TSA and the checkpoint, I'm running to my gate, and I get to my gate and the door is closed. The, the plane has taken off, and I am crying,
Of course.
screaming in the airport, screaming to the top of my lungs, no, please open. I'm banging on the door. Please open. Don't leave. Please let me in.
Mhm.
And I had to call the company to tell them that I missed my flight.
Ooh.
And I had to do that. I knew that there was no turning back. They were not going to give me a second chance, because as an employee, if you can't get somewhere on time, then you can't work for us.
Yeah.
So that was one of those moments that it destroyed me, and I was destroyed.
Yeah.
I was in the bed for like a week because I didn't go with my first gut, right? I allowed someone else's opinion of what time I should get there to sway me, and I missed out on that opportunity. So I tell that story in the book, and it's tough. It was a tough moment.
What are three things that you learned from this experience aside being on time, which is self-explanatory, of course?
Yeah.
What have you
Um,
learned?
yeah. With that experience, I learned to always trust myself. I learned that my urgency is not everyone else's urgency. What's super important to me and what's super important to you is not always super important to other people.
Hmm.
And we can't be upset with other people because it's not their vision, is not their goal, is not what they're working on, is what you're working on.
Yeah.
Right. Um, and then the last thing I learned is things happen,
Yeah.
and you can't beat yourself up too long for situations like that.
No.
You can't you can't wallow in it. You can sit there, experience it, cry, do all the things, but you can't stay there too long. You have to get back up, dust your shoulders off, and you have to keep walking and looking
Yeah.
for your next opportunity. So yeah, that's what I learned in that moment.
I will say a lot of compassion because the imposter inside of us is making us feel miserable, weak, and pathetic. And we, as human being, we are compassionate being. We are really compassionate and loving being. I really believe that, despite all the horrible things that we hear every day on the news, I truly believe that human beings are compassionate and loving creatures. And in this moment, we gotta show love to ourselves, because if we don't show our love to ourselves, we're gonna just eat. So all these emotions are gonna eat us up. That doesn't mean that we need to deny this emotion. We need to live this emotion, but we don't allow this emotion to become us. It's just the most important thing
Right.
of a healing journey. And
Um,
I think I'm so sorry for you, and thank you for sharing. And I feel that it must have been freaking hard for you,
it,
because
it was crazy.
but I'm gonna ask you the next level question. What would have happened if you had come on time on that plane right now in your life?
Mm. Had I gotten to the airport on time, I would have gotten a job
Mhm.
because I knew going to the airport, they loved
Yeah,
me. Conversations that I'd had up until that point
yeah.
were amazing. But I'm just not sure, had I gotten a job, that I would be here talking to you today, because
That's what I'm
I would
talking about.
I would be
What
working.
about your book? Do you think that if that accident hadn't happened, you would have written your book? Uh, okay,
I would
you
have
see,
been.
you see.
Yeah, yeah, I see, because I would have been working a 9 to 5. I wouldn't have had the time to
Yeah,
put into writing the book. My experiences would be a little different, right? And I would be worried about what my company was thinking about me, versus putting it out there, regardless of what people think, right? So that's wow. I
yeah,
would not be talking to you right now.
yeah. You wouldn't be talking to me. Actually, I know it sucks, like big, big, big time, this kind of experience. But this experience is what it's probably our deepest why. The first chapter you said, find your deepest why, find the reason. What is the most compelling reason that push you, to go over your limit? Yes. That accident on the plane is your tiny dot that is
Wow.
pushing you, like, to become a better person day after day. So
After that.
according to Zoom, we have 9 minutes. So I'm gonna ask you with my favorite question, which is the most powerful, deep, emotional question, which is, if your inner child was standing right beside you, right this moment, what would you say to her, and what would she say back to you?
Wow. I would say to her, you are worthy. I would say to her, you are worthy of everything that's going to come your way. So fight like hell to get it. You are worthy of being loved. You are worthy of being cared for, being spoiled. You are worthy of it all. You are worthy of it. And so I think she would say to me is stop sweating the small stuff. Don't
Yeah.
sweat the small stuff, right? Don't hold on to anger.
No.
Don't hold on to heartbreak for too long because heartbreak is going to come over and over again. Get used to it, right? And don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself in other people. Stay true to who you are. And I think they would tell each other, I love you. And she would say, I love you too.
Wow, that's power. This is my favorite question, and people get emotional with this question, but I really like it because I can see the authentic part. So
Yeah.
the purpose of Henry the teacher, the page that I sent you is authentic living for inner child connection from the mat to the world. And what I see that, and actually the podcast actually started like a bet for me. So I used to be afraid of speaking in front of the camera. I didn't like my voice. I actually started like quite soon. I think I recorded my first episode in April. Okay. My first 5 episodes, that was just me talking because I couldn't find any guest. I didn't know how to do it. So then I find the first guest. And then after I finish with the first guest, I ask, hey, who is the most sensational man or person that you have in your life? And would he or she be interested in joining Golden Child podcast? And I just keep going this and is I don't know. I just find beautiful, amazing souls all the time, and it's quite amazing, really, the power of uh meaningful connections and how you can attract people just through your energy. Because people like they just open with me. They share amazing insights. I learn, they have fun, and and it's just awesome, really.
Well, I have truly enjoyed being here with you today. I have truly enjoyed this conversation. You
Yeah.
have pushed my thinking outside of my comfort zone. Because if all those experiences would not have happened, I would not be here talking to you today. So thank you so much. It's
Oh,
been great.
thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. Actually, that's if that accident hadn't happened, we wouldn't be here. But you're not the first guest who said that. You're not the
Wow.
first guest. Actually, I think it was my first and second guest that said the things. Very same thing. First guest was an entrepreneur that left his 9 to 5 job from UK and right now is teaching yoga in Thailand. And the other one, she left like a corporate job and right now she is healing people from trauma. And again, if certain things hadn't happened, we wouldn't be having this conversation and we wouldn't have grown together thanks to a
True.
Golden Child podcast, the
True.
authentic part of ourselves. And it's so nice, really, like for everyone who wants to follow Felecia. She is super social. So you can find her on Instagram, you can find her on LinkedIn, you can find her on Facebook and YouTube. Tell me if I missed something. I think there was a fifth social. Was it Pinterest or
TikTok, I'm on
TikTok?
TikTok as well. I'm not dancing, but I am on TikTok.
Oh, thank goodness. Someone is not dancing on TikTok.
Yeah. So tell me for all of my friends here in the United States, tell them where you are.
Yeah, you can find me mainly on Instagram, and you can find the Golden Child podcast on YouTube. And if you are a Spotify user, you can find me on Spotify, which is the Golden Child podcast. And by the way, Felicia, if you have someone that you say, oh my God, that person is going to be perfect for a Golden Child podcast, please send him or her over because I would like to hear other inspiring stories because it's nice. You see, I'm a guy from a very small town from Trieste. Vast majority of the people here in my city don't speak other languages than Italian. So, it's again is breaking the boundaries, seeking knowledge, even if it means going to China. And don't be limited by geographical boundaries. Explode, be the change, be the golden child that you want, and meet awesome, amazing, powerful people. Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
Thank you for coming, really, Felicia. I'm gonna end this episode and say hi and thank you to our listeners and viewers for tuning in from
Well,
Trieste and the States. Thank you so much, guy. Namaste.